Alright, you guys, this is my last video for this set of problems. So I'm going to go through number 37 for you because the directions and the problems are fairly similar for the other two in this section. So for 37, 39, and 41, the first thing that you have to do is draw your triangle given the information that you have. So with 37, we start with the sine of u is equal to -3/5. U is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So again, first thing we have to figure out with these problems is what quadrant we're dealing with. So if U is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, that means we're talking about a quadrant 4 angle. I will tell you, these are the kind of problems, these are really great problems. You will probably have at least one of these on your chapter test on this chapter. So we start with this information, we draw this triangle, it's down in our quadrant 4, and this is a nice one, it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. I will say the other ones aren't quite so nice, but you are pros at the Pythagorean theorem, so you should be good to go. So sine of u opposite, -3 over hypotenuse of 5, tells us our adjacent side is 4. So for these problems, you're finding three things. So you're finding the exact values of sine of 2u, cosine 2u, and tangent of 2u. It specifically says that you need to use the double angle formula, so that's what we're going to be doing. However, we're all smart people, and we know that tangent is the same thing as sine over cosine. So tangent of 2u is the same thing as sine of 2u over cosine of 2u. So there's a kind of a nice way that you can double check your work and make sure that things are panning out. Your answer that you get using your double angle formulas, you should end up that tangent of 2u is the same thing as sine of 2u over cosine 2u. So just a little side note there. So we're going to start with sine of 2u, and we know that we've been using these double angle formulas. Sine of 2u is the same thing as 2 sine u cosine u, and we just plug and we chug. So 2 times the sine of u, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse, times the adjacent, times cosine of u, so adjacent over hypotenuse, and we just plug in those values and we just go from there. So 2 times -3 over 5 times 4 over 5 is equal to -24 over 5, and there we've got our exact value for sine of 2u. Next, for cosine of 2u, we talked about this in another video that cosine, we've got three options for double angle identities or double angle formulas. You can pick the one that you like best for this particular problem. I like cosine squared u minus sine squared u, but you can pick a different one if you like a different one, and you should end up with the same answer. So if you want to try a different one, go for that. So again, this is fairly straightforward. It's just plugging and chugging and going. So cosine of u, we've already seen, is 4 over 5, so we square that, minus sine of u, which is -3 over 5, square that. So then we end up with 16 over 25 minus 9 over 25, and we have 7 over 25. So, like I said before, at this point, we could do sine over cosine and have our tangent of 2u, or we can go ahead and go through the whole process, which is what we're going to do because the directions tell us to when we follow the directions. So we're going to use tangent of 2u is equal to 2 tan u over 1 minus tangent squared u. And again, it's just plugging and chugging and taking those numbers off of our lovely triangle up here. So 2 times the tangent of u, so tangent is opposite over adjacent, so -3 over 4. So here we do have to be a little bit more careful with our signs. Before they were all getting squared, or I guess not in the sine of 2u, but be careful with your signs because it's 2 times -3 over 4. Then 1 minus -3 over 4 squared. So going through and just simplifying things, this would be the same thing as -3 over 2. 1 minus 19 over 16, simplifying some more, -3 over 2 over 7 over 16. Remembering that dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. We end up with -24 over 7. I made a mistake. This should be -24 over 25. Sorry about that, you guys. I forgot to multiply across the denominators. And I noticed that because then my cosine, or my answer for tangent, didn't work out. So, if you caught that mistake at the beginning, good for you. If you have questions on these, let me know.